Hello, all you beautiful twin flames. This is Jen Ballou, and I am a twin flame located in Laguna Beach, California. Now, if you're watching this video and you're not a twin flame, awesome. Nobody can be perfect. I had to say that. I was blow drying my hair, and I was like, you know, these videos aren't just for twin flames. Number one. Number two, twin flame itself is so highly distorted in a million other things, but hey, what are you gonna do? So hi everyone. Hi all you beautiful individuals, true individuals, those who are pulling themselves in to beingness. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to my sacred space. I am so happy that you are here joining me at this time. So I have a few different videos that I received that I wanted to do. I don't know which one I'm going to do today, but we'll just see where it goes. So first I just want to share a little bit for those of you who have not heard about like the false ascension matrix or false timelines or false realities, etc., etc., it's very important at this time to start connecting into that, because that is a very important aspect of your ascension journey, of your journey into beingness, of your journey into being a fully sourced light being. What does that mean? What does it mean to be connected to source? Well, it's going to mean whatever it means to you, of course. It's your own experience. It's your own journey. For me personally, I'll share my own experience. You can check out my last video to explain a little bit about my experiences and where I've been and all of that. And I do still plan to complete that video. I haven't gotten there yet. So this is not a continuation of that video, but it's still an aspect of it, right? It's still a part of it, right? Okay, so what does it mean to be connected to source? What does it mean to be truly out of the false, out of the manipulated matrix system, you could say, or outside of these realities that are corrupted, that are not natural, that are not organic, that have been manipulated into being, as well as all of the old systems that exist on this planet, government, everything, all these systems, right? All these systems need an upgrade. Like, we need something new, right? We need something new. Things are not working. That is highly evident, and this is not a call for anarchy or anything like that. This is simply recognition of where we're at as humans in humanity. Of course, I come from my own individual perspective. I'm an American. I grew up in America. I was born here. I have a ancestral line of white European ancestry, as well as Eastern European ancestry, as well as Greek and Jewish, and and my son's has African American, Native American, Aboriginal. So there's a lot there. So we're all colors, right? We're all colors. We're all individuals, and there is no. We're all individual beings, right? Capable of being our own source light, capable of being connected fully to source light, being a divine human, creating our own way of being. What does creating your own way of being mean? It essentially means operating by your own code, right? Operating by your own code. And this process I just had this weird glitch on the camera. But this process that you're in right now, this journey that you're in of going within, right? Going within, of no longer looking to the external for permission, for what, this is becoming sovereign, right? As a self, as an individual, not as a, a leech on society or anything like that, but truly, operating integrally, your own code, that's where I feel, based on everything I've received and all of the inner work that I have done and all of the understanding I have gained through my own process of introspection, through understanding what this ascension is all about, understanding everything that, all the information that's out there, because it can, it can be confusing. You have one thing that says one thing and you have another thing that says nothing, or another thing, or nothing. But essentially, it's understanding that things need to change, and we all have our own experiences to bring to the table, and we all have our own way of being, and we all have our own perspectives, and it's putting everything together as a whole, right? Everything together as a whole, not dividing, or separating things into this or that category. Now, at the same time, things are, you could say, they can be categorized, right? But it's not in the sense of, that's wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, you're doing it the wrong way. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, there are ways to guide people, perhaps out of the false timelines, ascension matrix that said the false ascension, etc. There's a way to kind of, steer people out of that, as well as assist them and support them, right, in breaking free. And that's really what it is. It's breaking free and just being you as an individual being. To me, twin flame, I've battled it for a very long time, and it's just, you could say it's an aspect of who I am, but I don't even know if I can even say that, really. At this point, I'm so much more. And I'm not defined by that label, and I don't live my life by that label, and I don't make my decisions by that label any longer. That's a reality construct of, you should do this based on who you are, right? Within a system. And we want to get out of that. We want to break free. We want to be individuals. We want to express ourselves as an individual. And as we each choose to embody our own light presence and share our own light presence, then it gives allowance to others to do the same. It opens up others to that same concept, to that same possibility, to that same reality, right? That you don't need to be defined by your past. You don't need to be defined by your occupation. You don't need to be defined by the family you grew up in. Now, at the same time, coming to terms with everything you have experienced is necessary. Something, to understand, and this may not be for everybody, in the sense of perhaps you already are past this, or whatever it may be, is that, and I don't know where, I think I just lost it. things have been shifting so rapidly. It's like I don't, my expressions are so different. My reference points are so different as to how I am able to connect and share. And I lost it. Maybe it'll come back to me. But we're in a time of change. We're in a time of change, and we're in a time of change at an individual level and further, right? And further beyond just the individual. It's not just about you. It's about everything you're connected to at the same time, at the same exact time. There's no separation in that regard. Each shift you make will change things and open up realities for others as well. It's just how it works. You only need you to start beginning to change. And it's difficult because you may not know what to do. And that's why it's important, again, to build that system within. Like it's rather than looking to, so let me give you an example. And I was out on a walk the other day with my son. We were walking to go get hamburgers, right? We wanted some nice juicy hamburgers at this local spot, total grease, factory, but it sounded really good and Miles wanted that. So we at least made the healthy choice to walk there, right? I think my stomach is still upset and I'm still paying for it. So, but as we were walking home, I have a tendency now, right? And you could say maybe always, is that when let's say I'm crossing the street, right? And there's a walk sign, right? Or it's like this. So I walk around in my community all the time. I'm always out walking. And so a lot of times I'll just, if it's a red light and the stop sign is, let's say, there, right? And it doesn't have the walk sign, sometimes I'll just go. I look around, I get a bearing on my environment. I look to see where the cars are at because cars don't have to follow signals anyways. So, I always look around and then I make the choice. Okay, is it safe for me to cross the street? Right? Something we learned when we were, young, how, you look both ways and you cross the street. But what I was thinking about and what I was processing through is how, what I notice very often is, let's say I do that. Right? Let's say I do that because it's my choice and because I've looked at my surroundings and I've made a judgment call, right? Yes, I could get a ticket for jaywalking, but, I don't want to stand there when I know I can cross. That's just me. And that's fine if other people are different. And I'm usually a rule follower. I'm not the type of person that breaks the law. I used to work for the government. It's not my style. It's not my nature. But at the same time, we all do these things, right? And so for me, it's like, I want to use my own judgment. Like, I don't want to be sitting here being a part of this system of disempowerment as if somehow that light is more smart than me, right? Do you see? So, to me, that you become a part of that system when you're not even making your own choices. You're just making choices based on what's available to you, based on if there's a stop or go sign. And so you're not even thinking. You don't even have judgment process. You're not even connecting to your thought process or your brain or your ability to make judgment. You're really just dying, right? You're a part of this system and you're just dying. You're not even actualizing your own ability to cognate through an experience, to make a decision for yourself, to make a choice based on everything that's around you and your own feelings and whatever else may be, whatever else may be going on wherever, right? And I'm not saying to cross the street. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying you use your own judgment, right? use your own judgment. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is how, something that I was thinking of the other day, right? And something I would love to see others utilize, not in the sense of listening to me, but their own process, right? Their own ability to think for themselves, to feel for themselves, etc., etc. So what I will often find is, let's say I do that, some other people will start doing it. They see me and they're like, oh, it's okay for me to do that too. But and I question myself, well, am I leading people, in the wrong direction? It's their choice. It's their choice, whatever it is that they do. It's not my responsibility. I'm just minding my own business, right? Making my own choices and my own decisions and actualizing them and being within my own energy field and not, sitting there living according to another's design. I'm living my own design, my own way, right? And I just wanted to share that because I feel it's important to think about these things, right? And this is just one simple example. It's no different than, I'll give you another example. Let's say I want to have, let's say I'm out to dinner with a friend and I want to have a glass of wine, and I know I can have one glass and I'll be fine to drive. But it's what are you processing through in that moment, right? Are you processing through, well, I'm allowed to have 2 or 3 glasses or whatever it is in X amount of time, and this is where my blood alcohol content will be at, and if I don't do that, then I'll get arrested, let's say, or whatever it may be, right? How are you processing? Or are you processing in the sense of, you know what, I need to make sure that I'm safe. I want to make sure that others are safe, right? And what does that mean? And what does that look like, right? What ensures safety? What ensures everybody's safety, within the sense of things do just happen, but where do I fall in alignment with that? Where do my choices fall into alignment with that, rather than processing through it through the system, let's say, of thinking it that way. It's going within, right? It's going within and having your own individual process outside of oh, I could get in trouble, like thinking of those types of things. And it's and I feel that Miles, my son's homesick today, so I feel that those are little changes that we can begin to make where we're not where we're truly in an integral system that we've created for ourselves, our own intuitive system, our own knowing, our own feeling, our own seeing, our ability to not think about, am I going to get in trouble for this, but in the sense of what's right, for humanity, let's say, or what is just the right thing to do. And I don't mean in the sense of right, wrong, because everything is on, you have a spectrum and you have, that, right? And what can be right to one person may not be right to another, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, what's responsible? Responsibility. What is responsible? What is the responsible choice here? And how do I align to responsibility? Right? How do I align to integrity? How do I align to these things rather than law enforcement system? All these all these systems right out there that are just, it's just, how do you come back to your core beingness of just being a good human, right? Just being a responsible individual, truly within yourself, not in the sense of the visual that you may show another, like the Like, for instance, it would be somebody who, let's say a vegan, and I don't have any problems with vegans, right? I'm not, and that's just my own choice, right? And that's a choice that I've processed through, and yada yada yada. I don't, I'm not sitting here, eating like a cow every day, but it's the, like, let's just say you have this, super spiritual person. They're vegan, and they do yoga every day, and they meditate every day, and they go out into the world, and it's yeah, I'm a vegan, it's so, wrong to eat meat. Why are you eating meat? That's disgusting. You're killing all these animals in this world, and judging everybody else, right? Not only judging everybody else, but then also putting out this facade, right? Putting out this facade of being this holier than thou individual, as if that is some type of, high-level spiritual being. And it's understanding that there are these facades out there. There are these false realities. And when you listen to an individual process and listening to them and how they're navigating that process, you can begin to open up this understanding of how they're operating, let's say, right? And this is not in the sense of it's right or it's wrong, because that's just how they operate based on where they're at within their existence, where they're, what their job is, whatever it may be. But that's how they're defining themselves, and that's how they're making decisions, et cetera, et cetera. But you're not free, right? You're just a part of the system. And what I feel is the intention do I want to say intention? What I feel is the direction that we are meant to go is to not need any of this, right? To not need any of this. Okay, so my son just needed something, but okay, so where was I? So that's where we're, that's what it means to be, an individual. And that's how we are able to create new, right? Now, this is about, ones and ones and ones and ones all coming together and forming a whole, right? These individual ones, or these individual beings, that are connected to source knowing, connected in that alignment of being whole and complete, and not dysfunctional and disordered, right? Because all these other things end up causing these disorders within. We're meant to be whole within ourselves. We're not meant to be fragmented into a million different pieces, processing through all this crap, right? In order to make these decisions that we need to make, or use how we use our processes. Our processes are being taken away from us. Our energy is being taken away from us, and placed into, these external systems. And this occurs 3D, 5D, 12D, etc., etc. This is not just 3D, your matrix system, your everyday reality. This is also within the spiritual community. This is also within within every sector, right? There's no superiority within some of these corrupted multidimensional systems. Now, I can sit here and I can say I am a multidimensional being, and I am. But that is not, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? It's not, I'm not special in any way, right? I'm not special in any way. We're all multidimensional beings. Every single one of us, all we have to do is wake up to our ability to be a multidimensional being, the ability to process through multiple dimensions, multiple perspectives, multiple realities that are occurring all simultaneously, and learning how to operate as an individual, right? We all have that capability. It's just like anything. It's you need practice. You need exercise. You need to find what is right for you, the right method, right? And even in that sense, you can become entrapped. And it's like, a good example would be, let's say there's all these fad diets out there, right? There's all these fad diets, and they make all these promises saying, okay, you're going to lose weight. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but is that right for you? And is it sustainable? And does it bring you into, are you constantly just like a slave to that diet, right? Are you truly healthy, mind, body, soul? Are you truly healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, on every level? Or does this somehow give you some type of egoic fulfillment, which would be one aspect, et cetera, et cetera? Are you just doing this to lose weight? Are you doing this to be healthy and whole and complete? And these are different things that you can start to tune into and connect to and understand. Like, what is my reason for doing this? Connect within. Like, what is truly my reason for doing this? And there's nothing wrong with the answer, right? There's nothing wrong with the answer, but it's understanding how that affects the whole within yourself first, right? How does that affect the whole? How is that just another fragmentation? Is that just another quick fix? Or are you truly transforming yourself to where holistically, to where all these different aspects fit together and you can be at your ideal weight, let's say, eating just like a normal person, right? The fad diet will mess with your brain. It'll mess with your brain, the idea that you have to diet in order to be healthy. Oh, I'm on, let's say I'm on, paleo, and I'm not knocking any of these. They're gateways, you could say. They can assist. You can learn different methods, right? But you can become a slave to that, right? Where that's like the be all and end all. And then who are you? Who are you as an individual outside of that system? And this can apply on so many different levels and in so many different scenarios. So learning how to be this, this empowered, sovereign, integral, you may have heard that out there within some people who are speaking about it. You can use the words and you can think to yourself, what does it mean? What does it mean to you? What does it look like to you? And begin to go from there and begin to release out this reliance and this dependence on all these different things to make you who you are, even though, who are you at the depths of your being? How do you express yourself as just as an individual? Not in the sense of because I know I've done this a million times where it's like there's certain things as crutches, right? Perhaps a way to define myself that's perhaps just a transitory experience as well. And it's learning how to create new, right? Create new in every moment. You can be a new person in 10 minutes, right? You can create a new identity for yourself. And I'm not saying it's going to only take 10 minutes, but you can shift. You can shift out of that old identity, right? And you can just be you. You can just be you at the depths of your being. And when you have that source within, right? When you're connected to source, and you are a source light being, you have so much experience to connect to within yourself, what you've experienced. But you can only operate in that way having actually gone through a process of reflecting on what it is that you do hold within and what it means. And it's a process of refinement, right? Alchemical. It's a turning this experience, let's say, into something completely new for yourself without anybody telling you to do so, just because you're ready and you want to experience yourself in that way. And you want to become a more refined being, let's say, right? Connected to source, being a source light being. So then what does your source? So you hold this within yourself. You hold all this knowledge within yourself. Everything you could ever need to know can be within. Right? It's not out there somewhere. Now, we're not meant to be, we can be a hermit if we so choose, right? We can be a hermit. We can choose to be out there, integrated within existence and still hold that within. Knowing, right? Knowing and being able to just hold it, and actually being able to have decent relationships with people who may not be quite in the same alignment, but you're respecting one another and you're respecting where the other person's at, and you don't need to change the other person. Yes, you may share things with them so they can think to themselves, well, I never thought about that before. I kind of understand that perspective. Maybe I'll hold that perspective. Maybe I'll shift into that perspective, right? But that perspective is going to look different for them within than, even though it's the same type of perspective. It's just, and you can have that effect by just being yourself, right? Just by engaging in a conversation with somebody, getting to know somebody on a deeper level. And you can, it's just a natural thing. Right? It just naturally happens. You're not sitting there thinking they're not in the right alignment, and I'm going to make sure that they, I'm going to shift them into this new space, right? Because they're wrong where they're at. That's not healthy, and that's not integral. And that's not fair, right? It's not fair to another being. And then it's also coming from a very, like an egoic space, like, oh, you are going to be the special, right? You're the special one, and you're going to save them from themselves. And it's very easy to get caught in these loops through a spiritual journey, like the twin flame journey. Because, we're doing our own inner work, and we're coming into all these new perspectives, and we're understanding ourselves on such a deep level, and we're understanding humanity on such a deep level. And we do want to share that with others, but it takes time to know how to navigate that process and to share, and many of us are out there and we're teaching this, that, that just because you get to a certain point, right, there's more, right? There's more. It's, you get to a point, but then there's another point, and 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 a point, right? It just continues and continues. And that brings me to another thing that I wanted to share. So my son and I, we love the movie Black Panther. Right? We love the movie Black Panther, and we watched it for the second time this past weekend. And there is a part of the movie where, and this is not a spoiler alert because I'm not gonna ruin the movie for you through this share, but there's this point in this movie where there's this country in Africa that towards the world looks like a third world country, but it's really hidden, and underneath they have access to this material, this like metal material called vibranium, right? Vibranium. And this vibranium is has these, it's a very special material, and it allows them to have this advanced technology, right? And they exist within a tribal system, and they have a king, and they have been in a state of, you know, harmony for quite a period of time, and you know, they still have their rituals, and they still have all these things that are integral to their being, you know, as a society. And the king's sister is the one that's in charge of like creating all this new technology, right? And she's talking at one point, like she's being dogged by her brother, right? Kind of like, you know, why do you have to keep upgrading these things, right? Isn't that good enough where it's at? I think it's her brother, but the king. But regardless, you know, she says, you know, she makes a comment. I don't remember the exact comment, but she essentially says like that's how you make things better, right? Is that continual process of refinement, that continual process of, yes, it may be good as version, you know, 36.0, but let's make version 37.0, and let's make version 38.0. And there's just constant continual process of refining and making things better, right? And that's the idea. It's not stopping and saying, okay, I'm here and that's good enough, which is fine if you're choosing to do that. I'm not saying that that's bad or wrong. I'm simply saying that you can choose to continue to upgrade, right? To come in higher spaces, deeper spaces, more refined spaces, the ability to connect to very refined essence level beingness. It's like having a you know, a fine wine. It's taken time to like get to that point, right? And you can choose that, right? You can choose that for yourself. You can choose that for your journey. The Most High, right? The Most High. And so that's good. So I was able to share that. Oh, so I wanted to talk real quickly about, okay, so when I was back in college, I took a course in world religions. And I think it was like, I don't know if it was world religions or it was ancient world religions. I'm not quite sure. But I remember, and I was notoriously horrible about going to class, right? I was not a good student. But I do remember the opening class for my professor, and he had said, religion is a world-building and world-sustaining system, right? Religion is a world-building and a world-sustaining system. Now, my 19 or 20-year-old brain who grew up Catholic had a very hard time quite understanding that. And yet I wasn't, you could say I was triggered in some way, but it wasn't in the sense of it being negative, right? I wanted to understand what does that mean, right? I accepted it, right? I accepted it as his reality. I accepted it. And I often refer back to that very often because it's helped me to understand where we're at, how we got here, and where we're meant to go, right? And this is just from my perspective. I'm not special. I'm just me, right? And so if you can see it like that, right? Religion, any type of religion, any type of group that connects to higher power, let's say, it is a world building and world sustaining system. It's no different than a government or anything like that. It's just another aspect of that, right? It's perhaps a more it brings God in, right? The idea of God, right, into this system. And it's a way to control, right? Control people. It can be. I'm not saying that it's like that, everywhere. It can also be used to support and to nurture people into their own beingness, right? And I don't know if I necessarily put that in a religion category, but at the same time, you can see certain religions that utilize those types of, what's the word? Ways, I guess, ways. But if you can see that it is a reality structure, it is a way to be, and then also understand that the complexity within that system and the individuals who make up that system within their own, perhaps, lack of integrity, perhaps own dysfunction or disorder, would then create problems within that system. So it's not like it's inherently bad, right? We need order, right? We need order in order to function. But I feel that we are moving in the direction of creating that within ourselves. So we don't have to, and I'm not saying that we can't be a part of a religion if we so choose, but it's in the sense of I am my own individual, and what is being taught to me or said to me does not dictate my own process and my own feeling and my own ability to see, to be, to know, right? And we all have these abilities within. And the more you connect to them, the more you're able to refine your beingness, and the more you're able to become more and more empowered in what you will allow and will not allow into your beingness, into your life, into your expression. And none of that's going to matter. Now you may have others that want to program you into that system, and that's fine. That's just where they're at. But you will be able to learn how to handle that, right? How to handle that. And be able to say, no, thank you. This is where I'm at. That's where you're at, and that's fine. But I'm not going to become a part of something that does not do me justice, that keeps me locked in, that keeps me small, right? That keeps me small. You can choose to create that from within, that system. Now, it will take time because you will not be subject to perhaps, I don't want to say subject. You won't be controlled. Then how do you learn self-regulation when you don't have that system of religion, let's say, or that system of self-govern, that old system of governance, like when that's not ruling you anymore. But when you are the one who is being, right, within your own source essence, knowing what you know. And every field has systems of order, right? Every field, psychology, higher fields, they're all fields, right? Psychology, mind, right? Brain, physical body, you have all these fields that are all really separate, right? So how do you integrate into your own space and create that space, and then allow and teach others to do the same, and allow others to have their own beingness? So yeah, so I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to share. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you receive. Essentially what this is it's becoming your own divine authority, right? Your own divine authority, your own authority, your own, you are the creator of your reality, right? You are your own beloved. You become the beloved. You just are, right? You are what you want others to be, and then you meet others who are like you, and you can be as one within your own individuality. If anybody is looking for support or needs some assistance at this time, I do offer various services. I unfortunately am not able to, other than these videos, I don't have the space to be able to do more at this time for individuals because I have to pay my rent. I have to, I have to live. I'm a single parent, right? I'm a single parent. And I also appreciate any support from you all as well, because it allows me to be more present here and more able to share more. And I have struggled with this for a very long time because I want to be able to share more, but I've had such a difficulty in receiving. Really, I've had such a difficulty in receiving. And so if you are able, if you are feeling to donate, I do have something below if you would like to go, if you would like to. It keeps me motivated, it keeps me coming back, it keeps me out of, well, what's the point? What's the point, and what am I doing this for? What is the reason? And I'm not saying I need money to make a difference, right? But I'm just saying that there has to be an exchange somewhere. And sometimes I'm just like, I feel called to come and to share, but then it's like other times I'm just like, well, what's the point? Why am I doing this work, right? Why am I doing this work for others within this space, you could say, right? What's the point? And yes, I still follow my own guidance, and yes, it's still serving a purpose, and I know all of that. But I would love to be able to work with more individuals at this time, because I know people are going to need support, and I would be so grateful to be able to work with you and to assist you and support you and nurture you into your own individual beingness. And that is what brings me joy, is to be able to transfer this to another, Like, why else did I receive and open up all these gifts and all these abilities if I can't help others to do the same so they can be there? And then as we get through all of this, right, and we all begin to wake up, right, to our power and our ability. And I'm not saying power over another or power under another or anything like this. This is just, as individuals, we have so much power that we can change so much and create these new systems that are not fragmented and diseased. So I hope some of you will take the time to think about whether or not they would like to work with me. And if not, that's fine too. So I will send you all love, and I will leave you there. And until next time, toodaloo.